So joining me, Scott Morrison, who's the author of 1972, The Series That Changed Hockey Forever. This was the Canada-Russia series with a forward by Phil Esposito. Scott, I guess by the fall, we're going to hear a lot more about this series, the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, no question. And I really hope that that group of players and on both teams are celebrated, because that series was monumental. It was the first time that our best players played their best players, and the time was right for that to happen, because the Soviets were dominating international hockey, and obviously all our best players were in the NHL, and we weren't sending our best. We were sending great amateur teams, but amateur teams that were getting beaten internationally. So both sides had a feeling that they had to put their best together to see where they stood on the ice.
You completed this book before the Russians invaded Ukraine. Yet when I read this book and I read about Canada going to Russia and all just the tactics of the Red Army and how frightening it seemed. And now, of course, with the images we see on the screen, it's interesting when you see 50 years later, things have not changed that much in certain ways.
Yeah, I mean, I say in the book that the world was a different place in '72, and it was very different, the world. We all know that. But sadly, some of the things that were happening with the Soviets then and what is happening with the Russians now haven't changed. And it's sad to see and tragic all at once. And yeah, it was different. The image back then is, we know much more now, but back then in '72, not very many people would travel to the Soviet Union or Eastern Europe. The Soviets were an image, a feared image in black and white that we watched on the nightly news. And there was a Cold War going on in the world, the East versus the West, capitalism versus communism. It was we didn't know a lot then, and it was a frightening time in many ways. And then a lot of that undercurrent crept into the series, or the mindset of everyone involved in that series.
I see this book as almost an educational book for young people who didn't see the series. I was 10 years old, loved it, watched all the games, remember what happened when Paul Henderson scored that goal. Yet I was not at 10 reading the stories in the Gazette every day or whatever paper came to my house. This was like not only a game story, this was like reading, you covered this series as if someone is like, I almost, after game one, I was in anticipation, what's going to happen in game two? This happened 50 years ago, yet the way you wrote it, I couldn't, like what the roster changes were going to be was like really comprehensive game stories almost.
Well, thank you very much. You know, the players had vivid memories of what happened on the ice, what happened off the ice, the dynamic to the team, what was happening, players versus players, what the coaches were doing. And, you know, it is a compelling story, because, you know, for a lot of people, they don't remember it. For those who do, it brings back incredible memories. And what we hope to do, because it is through the eyes and the voices of the players and the coaches on both sides, that it tells you a lot more of what goes on, not just while the puck is dropped, but before the puck is dropped and after it's dropped, and just the dynamic of a team and a series of that magnitude.
Well, good luck, Scott, and thanks for sharing this time with us. It's going to be a good, big seller, this one. I know it. I can feel it.
Well, I hope so. Thank you very much for your support, Mike.
Great talking with Scott Morrison.